What a wonderful, wonderful day. I'm not only talking about the weather, I'm not talking about what we are here for. On behalf of Nazareth College Board of Trustees, it is my honor to welcome all of you to the groundbreaking celebration for the new Golisano Training Center. I'm proud I have served on the board since 2004. During that time, Nazareth has experienced tremendous growth. Tom Golisano helped spearhead more than a decade of growth with his gift to purchase and renovate the former Sisters of St. Joseph Mother House into the Golisano Academic Center. Since that time, with the help of our alumni, friends, and supporters, the college has added and expanded academic facilities to support enrollment growth, new technologies, and rapidly changing educational environment in Nazareth College. From the arts to healthcare and the sciences, Nazareth has created campus and culture focused on student success. Today, once again, thanks to the generous support of Tom Golisano, Nazareth takes the next step in creating a welcoming and inclusive campus community that embraces health and wellness, not just for the athletes, but for the entire Nazareth community. As a trustee, I'm tremendously proud of the work being done with the Special Olympics. We are confident that the Special Olympians and their families will soon feel that they too are valued members of the very special Nazareth learning community. But all this work, to be successful, couldn't happen without a clear vision and leadership at Nazareth. It is now my great pleasure to introduce the person whose vision has shaped and is still shaping this campus for more than a decade. President Don Braman.
Thank you, Sergio, and thank you all for coming. It's a beautiful day for an extraordinary event. I want to start by introducing the people on the platform here, and please hold your applause until I'm done introducing everyone, although when I introduce Tom, you can give him an applause. Everyone knows Tom Golisano, and next to him is Mike Warboys, who will speak to us as a Special Olympian athlete. Ann Costello, who's the director of the Golisano Foundation. You've already met Sergio Estaban, who is the chair of the board. On this side, we have Matt Battaglia, who's a Nazareth student, who will speak to us in a few moments. The most important person on the stage is the president of my home, Lorraine Braveman. Next to her is Tim Shriver, and you will hear more from him later. And then in the back, we have Dr. Bridget Noonan, who is the dean of our School of Health and Human Services. Tim Fournier, vice chair of our board. And then we have, and I'm going to get the name right, Stacy Hangersterman, close, who is, as of July 1, will be the executive director of the New York Special Olympics. Pat Ritchie, who is our vice president for finance and administration. Kelly Gagan, who is our vice president for institutional advancement. And Pete Bothner, who is our athletic director. And I just want to say a word about Pete. It was 2 or 3 years ago when we started talking about this facility, and it was Pete who said, you know what? We have all these Special Olympians who use our outdoor facilities. Why don't we start thinking about how they could use some indoor facilities here? So I'm especially grateful to Pete. Let's a round of applause for those on the stage. There are some people out here who I want to recognize as well. In the front row is Steve Natapow, who is a trustee and who helped bring this partnership together. We have Kevin Knapp somewhere from Senator Funke's office. I'm very pleased that trustees of the Golisano Foundation came. Drew Boschel, he's here somewhere, there he is. He's the Vice President for Special Olympic Sports and Health. We have other representatives of the Special Olympics, not only international, but of New York State. I'm very excited to see so many Special Olympic athletes. And I want to mention that two of our alums who played basketball here, Matt Groot and Justin Flad, have a unified basketball team in Newark, and they brought the entire basketball team here. And finally, I want to also recognize that we have our Life Prep students here today. Life Prep is a program that Nazareth does with the Victor Schools and BOCES, and it's a program for people between ages 18 and 21 who are transitioning from high school to jobs, and they do their courses on our campus. We assign Nazareth students to be their mentors, and it's an extraordinary program for the college and for our faculty, our staff, and our students, and I'm so pleased that they're here today. I want to say a word about what's happening today. I've been involved in a number of groundbreaking ceremonies on this campus, but this is the first time I can truly say we are groundbreaking not only a new facility, but we are breaking ground on an important idea. And that's what I want to talk about. You'll see lots of pictures about the building eventually, and you'll eventually hopefully see the building come by when it's built. But I want to talk about the groundbreaking of the idea. And the idea is the idea of inclusion. It's an idea that all of us should adopt, and it's an idea that will help us move forward as a college, as a community, as a country, and indeed you'll hear from Tim Shriver, who's the director of the International Olympics. It'll help the world move forward. And the idea is a simple one. The idea is we should welcome and accept and include people with all abilities. And this is what this facility is about. Every college in the country probably has a field house, but we are going to be the only school that we know of in the United States that has a partnership with the foundation, the Golisano Foundation, with the Special Olympics, and with our students and faculty and staff. And what that partnership will do is not only provide space where Special Olympians can practice, hold their events, but more importantly, we are going to involve our students from the School of Health and Human Services, from education, from across campus, work with Special Olympians on developing wellness programs as part of the Healthy Communities program that they sponsor. And the beneficiaries of this, and I want to stress this because this to me is what I feel so passionate about, the beneficiaries of this partnership are not just the Special Olympians. The beneficiaries of this partnership are our students, our faculty and staff who will learn to appreciate and understand the dignity of difference, the importance of difference, and why inclusion is really something we ought to be striving for. So when we ceremoniously throw dirt in a few minutes, we're really throwing dirt not just on a building, but we are really starting to build a mound towards an idea, and it's the idea of inclusion. So I'm so pleased that everyone can be here today, and I would truly be remiss if I did not extend a special thanks to this man, Tom Golisano. You all know him. You know how much he's done for not only the Rochester community, but the community, Syracuse community, the communities in Florida, what he's done for Nazareth College, what he's done for Special Olympics. He gave the largest gift to Special Olympics. I think it's over $35 million to Special Olympics to help establish the Healthy Communities program, not only in the United States, but around the world. This is a man who understands the idea that we are celebrating today and we are breaking ground on today. And I want to say, Tom, on behalf of myself and Nazareth, but of all the people that you've touched, I want to say thank you. I want to, before I introduce our next speaker, I want to also thank two other groups. This building, which is an extraordinary design, and the design is thanks to the Labella firm, and I know there are representatives here from the Labella firm, and I want to say thank you to them. I also want to say thank you to Wayne LaChase and the LaChase organization that is going to build this building, and we got a guarantee last night from them that not only will it be on time, but it'll be under budget. Right? So you cannot beat that. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Ann Costello, who is the director of the Golisano Foundation. Ann?
Thank you, Don, and thank you, everybody, for coming. For the past 20 years, I've had the privilege and honor of working with Tom Golisano, and I have to say it's just been an amazing journey. And projects like this are part of that journey. 33 years ago, he established the Golisano Foundation to honor his son, Stephen, who was born with intellectual disabilities, and to carry the legacy of inclusion and acceptance throughout Stephen's lifetime, as well as the lifetime of everyone, as Don said, with differences. The motto of the Golisano Foundation is Imagine the Possibilities. Nazareth has certainly imagined the possibilities and then some. Special Olympics has been at this for 50 years, imagining the possibilities. They are actually celebrating their 50th anniversary this July, going back to Soldiers Field where it all started. So we have a lot to celebrate this year and today, but we know the work is not done. There's a lot of work to do to promote understanding, acceptance, and inclusion. Nazareth is a wonderful example of an institution that not only imagines the possibilities, but is pushing the boundaries of the possibilities. And they're doing it with partners like the Golisano Foundation and Special Olympics and its faculty, staff, and students. So we're very pleased to be working with Nazareth College. Don made a very impressive case 2 years ago that they needed space, indoor space. But what's most impressive about the presentation and the need for space was his willingness and his sincere commitment to partner with Special Olympics New York to make sure that athletes could train year-round, just like everybody else, just like you and me. So again, thank you all for being here. Thank you for joining us in this celebration, and we look forward to next fall when the building is completed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ann. And now it's a pleasure to introduce Mike Warboys, a Special Olympian athlete. Mike?
Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Warboys, and I am a Special Olympics athlete. I also am a member of the Special Olympics New York Athlete Congress. I have been training and competing with Special Olympics for over 20 years. I play 11 sports throughout the year with lifetime assistance. My favorite is powerlifting. It has given me confidence and has taught me respect and sportsmanship. I have developed deep friendship with other athletes on my team and with my coach, Pat Dady. Special Olympics had helped me to become a leader and a mentor to my peers. Special Olympics is a year-round competitive sport organization for athletes like me. The competition have, however, changed over the past few years thanks to Tom Golisano and the Golisano Foundation. Not only do I compete, but I also attend to help the athletes. During the competition, I have learned a lot about taking personal responsibility for my health and in staying focused on a goal. The Healthy Athlete volunteers have tents set up so when we have some downtime during the events, we can go to Fit Feet, Fun Fitness, Healthy Hearing, Open Eyes, and Special Smiles. Through the Healthy Athletes, I have received a Fitbit that I wear every day. I also get more steps than anyone else on my team. My secret is that I work at Wegmans and am on my feet all day for work. I also became a role model to my teammates, and I encourage them to walk more and eat better each day. All things that I have learned through Healthy Athletes. Tom, on behalf of myself, the athletes here in Rochester, and those from all over the world, we cannot thank you enough for all that you do for us and continue to do.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. There are a lot of reasons why I love my job, but probably the most important one is because of our students. We have extraordinary students here who not only take their academic work seriously, but take seriously the need to think about how to give back to the community, not only the local community, but truly we're involved in the international community. And one of those students is with us today, Matt Battaglia, who actually graduated from our undergraduate program in 2017, and now he is in the master's program, pursuing a master's degree in speech pathology. But in addition to being an extraordinary student, he's an extraordinary athlete. He was a great runner for 4 years on our track team, but he also gives back. He's been very actively involved in our Life Prep program, and so it's a real pleasure for me to have Matt say a few words to you today. Matt Battaglia.
Thank you, President Braveman. It's a blessing and a great privilege to be included in this celebration today. As a student in the School of Health and Human Services, a former mentor, current graduate assistant for the Life Prep program, and also as a former student athlete, I really cannot begin to explain how much of a dream come true this day really is. You know, I vividly remember the day head cross-country coach and track and field coach James Goss showed me early renderings in the new facility. And if you know either of us, you would bet the first thing we talked about was the potential of hosting high-caliber indoor track and field meets and national championships, but I realized the opportunities didn't end there. My mind also began to flood with the endless possibilities for our Life Prep students and for interdisciplinary clinical experiences for the students from the School of Health and Human Services. Recently, I found myself once again thinking about these opportunities. And with the leadership and clinical expertise of the faculty here at Nazareth, I have no doubt Nazareth will continue to offer an extremely high-quality experience for the thousands of students, clients, and partners that enter our doors. This facility offers new possibilities and new partnerships within our community, from Special Olympics and beyond, that will deepen the engagement and learning of our entire student body. I also take immense pride in discussing with others how much it means to me to be a Nazareth graduate and to be continuing my education here. I take even more pride, though, in sharing what champions for inclusion President Braveman and the entire Nazareth community are. Today, we continue to celebrate diversity, and it makes me elated knowing our inclusive spirit will reach all of the visiting athletes and individuals from across the country who will enter these doors for years to come. Mr. Golisano, board members, President Braveman, donors, project team, and the countless and invaluable others who are making this dream for so many come true, thank you. Because of your commitment to student learning and development, and also providing a platform for athletes of all abilities to train and shine, I do not hesitate one bit when I say Nazareth and the GTC will be a gold standard for inclusion, not only in the Rochester community, but in the entire country. Thank you.
Before I introduce the next speaker, Tom wanted me to ask the audience something. Does anybody out there know how to get rid of geese on their property? And what to do about geese poop? If you have any ideas, we're all ears. You can't imagine how many, well, maybe you can, how many emails and phone calls we get about the techniques that people have tried. Although Tom has tried all of them and none of them seems to work on his property. Anyway, it's my pleasure to introduce the next speaker. Tom and I had the pleasure of meeting Tim Shriver, I think it was 8 years ago. And we thought Tim was going to talk to us about sports and the competitions, because when you think of Special Olympics, probably the first thing you think about is the sport in the competition. But Tim didn't want to talk about that. He wanted to talk about the health of the athletes, or I should say the health disparities that people with intellectual disabilities face each and every day. So after about 2 years of conversation, Special Olympics came up with a plan called Healthy Communities. And since then, we have partnered with Special Olympics to make sure that, or to work on the issue of health disparities through increasing access to quality care, as well as ultimately improving health outcomes for people with intellectual disabilities. Nazareth College is part of that equation, the partnerships enabling athletes and people with ID to train year-round. It's not just about the particular sport competition during a particular season, but it's about fitness year-round. And thanks to the indoor athletic training facilities now, people will be able to have year-round access. So without further ado, it's my great pleasure to introduce our friend Tim Shriver.
Thank you, Ann. Mr. President, Mr. Golisano, Mike, Matt, beautifully spoken. The wind is really blowing. I don't know about the geese, but the wind is blowing. I think it's a wind of change. There's change in the wind, right? Isn't there a song? Isn't there a great 60s song? There's change blowing in this wind. I know, and it's hot too, right? You guys are scalding out there, so you really want me to give the long version of my speech, right? Oh, please. No, okay. My job is simple today. I can't wait to grab a shovel, stick it in the ground, and break ground. We're here to break ground. As President Braverman said, we're here to bring about a change. The Special Olympics movement, some of you know it right here in Genesee, in New York, in the United States. We're in 172 countries. There are over 5 million athletes who today are competing at least in one sport, not necessarily in 11 sports. Yeah, it just comes naturally. But at least in one, all over the world. 100, countries in the Middle East, Syria, Afghanistan, countries all over Africa and Latin America, countries all over Asia, are joining with us today in a commitment to break ground, to make a change, to invite significant possibilities that don't yet exist to come to life. My only request is that we think of this moment not just as breaking ground here in the land, but breaking ground in our communities and our families, and even, I dare say, in ourselves. Someone a few years ago looked out here and saw a field. And it was a beautiful field, I'm guessing. But someone else saw something that didn't yet exist and said, let me bring it to life. Someone saw a rendering in their mind and said, let me create that in reality. And I think for most of us, it's sometimes easier to imagine creating some physical structure like a building than it is to imagine creating a new self. But most of us are sitting somewhere in life where we want to do something new. We want to change. And in this country right now, the winds of change are blowing. And they're blowing here for us to remind us that we have to be the agents of that change. That we have this invitation in this place and in this time, just on this physical space, but in this physical space for all of us to become agents of change. Yes, to awaken something new within ourselves, but also maybe to find a new way to define success. Because most of us think of success as just one thing, but maybe success is not just how much you make, but who you bring with you. Maybe value isn't just financial, but it's also social and relational. Maybe the way in which we see each other isn't just about who's got the most toys when they die, but who shares their most. So, Mr. President, I want to take the liberty not accorded to me by the state of New York or the faculty or the staff to appoint some new faculty members. Because when we think about making a change, we need professors, we need teachers, we need role models. So I'd like all of the Special Olympics athletes here, if you don't mind, to stand at this time. Some of you are, yeah, let's hear a round of applause. And I'm going to make up a new oath of office for us. No, you have to stay up. Stay up. All athletes, stay up. I am asking you to accept an appointment as members of the faculty of the Inclusion Revolution. All willing to accept that, please raise your hand and say aye. How many of you are willing to teach the lessons of inclusion to the rest of them here? All willing, say aye and raise your hand. How many are willing to sacrifice your own time so that others can learn how to make a new self? All willing, say aye. Aye. You are hereby officially sworn in as professors of the groundbreaking of the Inclusion Revolution. Thank you, athletes.
Thank you, Tim, and we'll expect to see you all at the first faculty meeting. So before we conclude this and move over to actually do the formal groundbreaking, I just want to mention that after we do throw the dirt, we'll have a reception. We hope you all can stay. But I really do want to mention that what we're trying to do here today, this breaking ground on both a building and an idea, we really believe that in future years, this kind of partnership that you're hearing about today that involves a foundation, the Golisano Foundation, Special Olympics, and a college, that it can become a model for what other communities do around this country, and that they're going to look at Rochester, New York as a model for how we should be getting involved in what Tim refers to as the Inclusion Revolution. So stay tuned. You are not only going to see a new building opening in a year from August, but you are going to see this replicated, in my view, around this country. Thank you all for coming. I'm inviting the party on the stage to grab a shovel, and you can all turn your attention, stay away from the dirt. It's going to blow, but as soon as we're done actually breaking ground, I invite you all to stay, and thank you again. Go ahead.